What if I told you the most important child pepper in American food history wasn't discovered? It was engineered by one scientist in a field in southern New Mexico, and almost nobody outside the Southwest knows his name. A Navajo woman cooking survival food from government rations. A Spanish colonial baker who made a cookie out of lard and anise, and a state that made asking for both an official answer for. 10 foods, one state. Let's get into it. Food 1, Hatch green chile. It's 1894. Fabian Garcia is a young Mexican immigrant who just enrolled at New Mexico State University. He grows up watching farmers struggle with inconsistent chiles. Different heat levels, different sizes, no two the same. He spends the next 19 years in the fields. In 19 releases it, New Mexico No. 9. The first scientifically bred child pepper in American history. Consistent size. Consistent heat, could be harvested by machine, could be canned and shipped nationwide. Before Dr. Garcia, New Mexico green chile was a local crop. After him, it became a national ingredient. One scientist, one field in Las Cruces, changed everything. Food 2, fry bread. Here is what you need to understand fry bread. It was not invented, it was survived. In 1864, the United States government forced over 8,000 Navajo people to march more than 300 miles from their homeland to a reservation at Bosque Redondo. The long walk. They arrived with nothing. The government gave them rations: lard, flour, salt, baking powder. Navajo women took those 4 ingredients and made something edible. They dropped dough into hot lard and fed their families. Fry bread was born from forced displacement. From the absolute bottom of survival, New Mexico didn't invent fry bread. The United States government's cruelty forced its invention. That is the actual origin story, and it matters. Food 3, sopaipillas. The sopilla is a mystery with a very New Mexican solution. A small square of dough dropped into hot oil. It puffs. The inside becomes hollow, a pocket of steam trapped inside a golden shell. You tear off a corner, pour in honey, and eat it in 2 bites. The most likely origin is the Sandia Pueblo area near Albuquerque. Spanish colonial settlers, 300 years ago, adapting fried dough traditions from Spain into something the desert could produce. Nobody filed a patent. Nobody needed to. If you've had a sopaipilla in New Mexico, you already know why. Food 4, bizcochitos. In 1989, New Mexico became the first state in America to declare an official state cookie. They chose the bizcochito. A shortbread made with lard, not butter, flavored with anise and cinnamon, stamped into a fleur-de-lis shape and dusted with sugar. The recipe came with the Spanish colonizers in the 1600s, adapted from a traditional Spanish mantecoso cookie baked in New Mexico ovens for 400 years. Every Christmas, every wedding, every quinceañera, the bizcochito isn't just a cookie in New Mexico, it is a memory. Food 5, green chili cheeseburger. Every state thinks it invented the cheeseburger. New Mexico invented the only version that actually matters, the green chile cheeseburger. A beef patty, flat griddled, never smashed, topped with a roasted Hatch green chile strip, the exact variety Dr. Garcia spent 19 years perfecting in Las Cruces, American cheese. Nothing else that distracts from the heat. Now here's where the argument starts. The Owl Bar and Cafe in San Antonio, New Mexico, a town of fewer than 100 people, 30 miles from where the United States tested its first nuclear bomb, has been serving green chile cheeseburgers since the 1940s. Scientists from the Trinity Nuclear Test Site drove there on their lunch breaks. Blake's Loaderburger claims its own history. Bobcat Bite in Santa Fe built a national reputation on theirs. Every New Mexican has a different answer for which one is best. Every New Mexican is also completely, utterly certain they are right. Food 6, carne adobada. Most states have a signature pork dish. New Mexico has carne adobada, and it requires patience most kitchens don't have. Pork is cut into large chunks and submerged in a red chile marinade. Dried New Mexico red chiles, garlic, oregano, cumin for a minimum of 8 hours, usually overnight, sometimes 2 days. Then it slow cooks until the pork pulls apart and the chile has absorbed into every fiber of the meat. The result doesn't taste like pork with chile sauce on top. It tastes like the chile and the pork became the same thing. Food 7, blue corn. In the Zuni Pueblo of western New Mexico, blue corn has been cultivated for over 1,000 years. Not as a novelty, not as a trend. As a staple that fed entire communities through desert winters when nothing else grew. Zuni farmers selected and preserved specific blue corn seeds across generations, a process so careful and deliberate that modern agricultural scientists now study their methods. Blue corn has a lower glycemic index than yellow or white corn, a nuttier, denser flavor. It holds differently in tortillas, tamales, and atole, a warm porridge that Pueblo communities still make today. When the rest of America discovered blue corn chips in the 1980s and called it an innovation, Zuni farmers had been doing it for a millennium. Food ate pozole. New Mexico pozole starts where most other soups end. Hominy, dried corn kernels treated with an alkali solution until they bloom open and become something completely different. Simmered for hours with pork, dried red chile, and oregano until the broth turns deep and dark. It is not a quick meal. New Mexican cooks will tell you pozole doesn't exist on a weeknight. It exists on a Sunday, it exists on a holiday, it exists when you have time to do it right. Food 9 stacked enchiladas. Every other state rolls its enchiladas. New Mexico does not. A New Mexico enchilada is flat. 3 corn tortillas layered like a stack, red or green chile sauce between each layer, cheese melted on top, and a fried egg placed directly on the crown. Nobody agreed to this. It wasn't decreed. It just became the way it was done here. In the homes, then the diners, then everywhere. The stacked enchilada is not a variation of the rolled enchilada. In New Mexico, it is the original. Food 10 Christmas. Nowhere else in America can you order a meal by asking for a holiday. In New Mexico, when a server asks red or green chile, and they always ask, you have a third option. Christmas. Both. Red on one side, green on the other, the full picture. It started as an answer from people who refused to choose between two things they loved equally. Then it became a tradition. Then it became identity. New Mexico is the only place on Earth where Christmas is an answer to a food question. And they are not sorry about it. A scientist who spent 19 years in a field so a consistent child could feed a nation. Navajo women who made food from 4 government rations and kept their families alive through the worst winter of their lives. Spanish bakers who carried a cookie recipe across an ocean in the 1600s and never changed it once. This is New Mexico food, not one culture, not one century. Every layer of this state's history, Pueblo, Spanish, Navajo, Mexican, American, ends up on the plate. 10 foods, 1 state, all of it real. Stay curious, subscribe and leave a comment below. Which one surprised you most? I'm betting most people have never heard of Dr. Fabian Garcia. Prove me wrong.